Colorado Railroad Museum has long been one of my favorite places to sketch. I love sketching outside, I love mechanical things, and I love stuff that I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at. And this fits the bill on all three counts. So I've been looking at this Shay locomotive for a while now, and I finally decided to take the plunge. It looked really complicated, and it's a geared locomotive, and it has all this sort of exposed machinery. It almost looks like a cutaway, and that made for a really challenging and kind of an interesting experience sketching. So a little insight into how I start the process. I started this one at least with a light pencil sketch. I think this is a 5H Statler pencil, and I'm just trying to find the basic shapes, the general layout, and then I can go in with a little bit more specific information. But basically working general to specific. I don't want to get too detailed on this drawing because I don't really need to draw the whole thing twice. So once I've got a basic layout of most of the information, I go in with my pen and ink, and this is a Hero M86 Fude Nib fountain pen. It's one of my favorites. It was a gift from Alvin Wong in Manchester at the Manchester Urban Sketching Symposium in 2016, and I fell in love with this pen, and I've been using it ever since. So I go in, I'm laying in the really darkest values first and really making them black, and then there's a little bit of hatching, especially as you saw right there on that round shape there, to kind of help describe the contours and the volume of that shape. But not a lot of hatching in here because I think I'm going to account for some more of the value with ink wash and water-soluble graphite in a little bit. But as you can see, I'm not really following the pencil lines to the letter. I'm using them as a general guideline for the location and proportion of things, and then really getting into detail with the pen and ink, and also trying to make sure I'm establishing value at the same time. So this is more hatching and picking out shapes that weren't described with the pencil under sketch. So just trying to find those things, and I sort of visualize them in my head before I lay them down on paper. And then some of the darker shadows, the cast shadows on an already dark object, because it is a dark, it's painted black. So those cast shadows are gonna really be black. And this is kind of some of my favorite parts of doing these things, is doing the little gravel underneath the railroad ties. It's just these little, almost sort of calligraphic little rocks and things. They're just kind of fun to lay in, especially with the Fude Nib pen. Now I'm actually using a Hero Fude Nib pen. Oh, and this is the, here shows up the water-soluble graphite pencil. I think this is a Cretacolor pencil. So I put that down first, and then I go in with my water brush. And that water brush already has a diluted mixture of Noodler's Lexington Gray ink and water. But the addition of the water-soluble graphite makes it a little bit darker. And just as I alluded to earlier, I was using that green pen you saw as another Fude pen. It's a Sailor Fude de Manin pen. So I used both of those pens on this particular drawing. And this is more of the water brush, trying to activate the water-soluble graphite that I already laid down, and also using the ink that's already there. And then there's the finished sketch.